joined now by Lourdes Vano, Green Party candidate standing in Manurewa. Kia ora, malo soifua, and thank you for joining us this morning, young lady.
No worries, yeah.
Now, is it you are one of or the youngest candidate standing at this year's general election?
I think I'm one of. There are two other 18-year-olds that I know of. One of my mates, Luke Wejon, is standing in Mount Albert. I'm against the Labour candidate. You may have heard of her, Jacinda Ardern. And there's another 18-year-old in the National Party. His name is William Wood, and he's standing in Palmerston North, I think.
Oh my gosh, what, 18?
Yeah.
Okay then, let's carry on before I start thinking about how much older I am. Tell us a little bit about yourself firstly, Lourdes.
Well, yeah, my family is from Samoa, the Cook Islands, and my dad's side is from Ngāti Kahungunu ki te Wairua on the beautiful East Coast. It is gorgeous down there. But yeah, I didn't always want to get involved in politics. I'm still very apprehensive about it. We all know how messy it gets and how toxic Parliament is. But after my involvement with School Strike for Climate, I saw how important our voices are and how they need to be at the forefront of politics, because we are at the forefront of climate change and at the forefront of the housing crisis and so many other problems, but our voices aren't being heard. So even if I don't get in, maybe someone who looks like me might, or decide to run next time, or maybe they'll be the boss of something and make a difference. So that's my whole like shtick. Yeah.
Apprehensive, but yet I can already, tell you're a very confident young lady.
Oh my God.
How do you go from being apprehensive to still pushing through those fears and saying, well, you know what? Yep, in spite of, I'm going to put my hand up anyway.
Yeah, I think after learning about climate science and all of the direct effects it's having on the Pacific, and has been for years, with ocean sea levels rising and ocean acidification and agriculture changing and more cyclones happening in the Pacific, like I've seen how devastating it can be for the livelihood of people. So that's sort of what keeps me going, and seeing people, especially with COVID, we've heard this line a lot, but people, like, these problems are not new. They've just been highlighted and exposed a lot more. It's the same people, our people, who are being disproportionately affected. So yes, it's very frustrating. And yes, I don't agree with a lot of the people that I have to be around, but like maybe someone will see me and put their hand up next time. So that's a change I'm very happy with making, yeah.
I'm sure you get this all the time. You're 18 years of age.
Yeah.
How do you always answer that question? Because you know it's coming at some stage, and especially being one of, if not, youngest candidate standing this year. Well, to you, what do you say when people say you're 18? What do you know?
Yeah, I mean, I do get that a lot. And I think the thing is that politics is such an isolating place when it shouldn't be. What politics affects is our livelihoods and our well-being. So we should be more than comfortable to step up, no matter like what our background is. But because of lingo and language and the type of people, the very small demographic of people who are who have access to those spaces, it looks like that space isn't for you. And I think my main messaging around this is, if you want to put your hand up, just do it. You are qualified by caring. Like, if you care about something, you are inherently political, because it has everything to do with your life. Like, everything that happens in Parliament, and I didn't always understand this, everything that happens there directly affects you, like with housing and healthcare and how you get to school and where your parents work and how much they're getting paid. So if you care about those things, like your whānau, papatuanuku, like all of that makes you political. It doesn't matter how old you are or where you went to school or what culture you are. I think that's what people need to be reminded of, especially the people in Parliament.
The two big issues or platforms you're standing on for this year in the Manurewa electorate?
Well, definitely housing. I've moved more times in my life than more years. This is going to be hard to explain. I've moved more times in my life than years I've been alive.
Wow.
So I've moved all over the place. Rent prices have gone up, like things have changed with our landlords, so suddenly the price goes up like the next week. So making things like housing and warm housing accessible to people. And a lot of our houses aren't even designed for Pacifica families, for multi-generational homes, for people like we're a family of 6. And most places have bedrooms of 3 or 4, so we're having to squeeze into these homes that aren't made for us. So as well as housing, healthcare, like inevitably these things go hand in hand. A lot of people have long-lasting like lung problems because of the damp houses that they're growing up in, including people in my family. So changing that for people and making healthcare accessible for these people, because it's all well and good if we've got great resources, but we need people to be able to use them, and that's also a human right, and being able to provide that for people is something I'd love to be able to do.
Lourdes, 18 years old.
Yes.
You know your generation very well. What are we up
Yeah.
to? X, Y, Z, whatever. Why is it historically our young people don't get out and vote? In hindsight, in terms of, the political experience you've had thus far.
Yeah, I think, again, it comes back to politics being so isolating. It doesn't look like a space for young people. That's why it's really great that people like Chloe Swarbrick are involved, because she is older than me, but people still recognise that, people in university. So what I'm trying to do is show people my age and people younger that if you care about something, you are political and you do have an opinion on these things. It just needs to be explained to you, because whatever goes on in Parliament, they can say whatever and you can be like, oh, I have no idea what that means. I must not have a say on this. But once someone breaks it down for you, and I've had a lot of people do that for me, and I'm so thankful for that, you can suddenly put your hand up and be like, oh, I do care about those things. Those things affect me. So breaking down that language barrier as well, but also just general lingo, so that more people feel welcomed to be able to participate in that space.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also, at a relatively young age, still not scared to hold others to account.
Yeah.
If we look even within your own party and what's been happening lately with co-leader James Shaw. Final words from yourself, especially to our young people. We want to get as many of our young people out and voting at the polling booth. So what do we say to them this morning?
Well, just please vote. You don't even have to vote for me. Just vote in general. No, but seriously, young people are the least likely to be enrolled, and they are the most likely to be affected by all of the decisions made from now on, and even the past decade or so. So we need our voices out there. It doesn't matter if it's my voice. It just needs to be the youth voice, so that everything that we care about can be directly reflected in our decision making. And a vote is like a koha to decision making in Aotearoa. And once we start recognising it as that, and once we know enough about the system and that education is accessible for people, that's when the real change is going to be made, and it's going to come from our young people. Like rangatahi, I've been in high schools and they had questions prepared, they blew me out of the water. I'm already being put out of a job and I've only just started. So they have all the answers. They just need to be able to express that in a way that is accessible to them.
Lourdes Vano, Green Party candidate for Manurewa, thank you so much. It's been
No
refreshing. Your honesty, your transparency has been very, very nice. All the best for October, young lady.
Thank you so much.